What's going on, everybody? This is future editor Joe. Couple of things real quick. First of all, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Appreciate you watching. It's been pretty cool to see this whole podcast thing kind of grow, and I have you guys thank for it. Second thing, this video is extremely long. We actually recorded for almost 5 hours. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed it. My phone's going off, but that's okay. So this is going to be in two parts. So this is going to be part one, and part two will probably come out next week. And then number 10 will be after that. But yeah, it was awesome. I enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully you do as well. And yeah, that's it. Oh, also, I forgot to hit record on the main camera. So the first part of the video, there's no video, just audio. And then a couple minutes in, it kicks in. So there's that.
Well,
A very weird couple hours.
been quite interesting.
Welcome to Just About Anything, where we talk about just about anything with just about anyone. And now that I say that, that makes the guest probably not feel as special. Now I'm like, this is kind of shitty.
Basically, you're anybody,
yeah,
really.
anyone can get on this podcast.
Anybody, anything, because really it doesn't matter. We'll just do whatever, and it's fine.
And it's fine.
You can just... Last week was a hobo, and that was fun. Actually, I don't know who was last week, so I'm so sorry.
Corey.
So
That's
you had a hobo
we had a
on
hobo
the
on,
show.
so,
I'm so
you know,
sorry.
sometimes
Nobody
it
even...
happens.
yeah, well, last week you guys saw a hobo.
This week, though, it is a special person. We do have Miss Layah.
Oh, you called me special. Thank you.
Did you watch the most recent one? This is good if you did.
No, I didn't.
Okay,
no.
Perfect. All right. So
Corey bragged about it though and said
Of
some
course.
stuff, and I was like, I just got finished with your podcast. It's like, that's great for you. I'm so happy.
So you were brought up at some point in there.
Oh my!
And on the previous one,
have
because
seen it now.
I was like, there are certain people that you meet, and you're like, oh shit, I should probably know that person more.
Yeah.
That is where you kind of came in.
Oh.
So like, he and I talked a little bit off podcast, and I was like, you know what, that would probably be a really good one. Also, Jared is a really big cheerleader of yours.
I adore
So
Jared. I've known him
he's
for
awesome.
the
I
longest
do want to
time.
get him on at some point
Yeah,
as well.
he's super cool. I think he even studied like philosophy in school for some time,
That's
and
dope.
That's what our conversations tend to lean towards, and we'll just sit there and talk for hours about it. So absolutely somebody to have on the show for sure.
I might. Jared, coming for you.
I don't know what that was. I didn't know either. I'm so sorry.
So to preface this before we get into the meat and potatoes,
If I see myself, I'll do strange movements, so I can't keep looking.
obviously
You know what
this is not where any of the other none of the other videos look like this. None of the other videos, other than our star down there. None of the other
I mean?
videos.
Starmy, I know.
You're
Don't
gonna
comment
get
about it.
roasted
It's
in-
fine. It's fine.
You're gonna-
It's fine. I know it's not Starmy.
I'm gonna censor it out. No,
It's fine. Don't censor it. I want to make people angry.
Yeah.
I can't make them angry unless I actually know the facts about it.
That's fair. That's
Right?
fair. But so the power went out where I normally record, which is my home.
About 10 minutes beforehand.
Yeah, exactly 10 minutes beforehand. So we kind of rushed. Some of you may remember. Did he go away? I was going to ask if he's cool with me saying his name. Some of you may remember that Neil, who used to do stuff with. I said it. Oh my god.
Comes out in a Hulk outfit. I'm so sorry.
He probably has one. I wouldn't be surprised.
He has
Or like
the
a
fist.
Superman.
At least the fist, right? That's for later stuff.
Yeah. All right. Oh god.
I forgot to ask how PC I can be.
No filters.
Oh,
None.
thank
None whatsoever.
God.
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, now I have
My
nothing
only
to say.
thing is, if you ever do say anything that you don't want aired, I can edit it out. What I usually do is I'll post it on YouTube and then private it and then link it to you so you can watch it.
If
Some people
comes
don't
out
care.
Of my mouth,
Yeah,
it's just
great.
coming out of
Makes
my
my
mouth.
life a lot
I
easier.
can't. You don't have to edit anything that I've said. Honestly.
So let's dive into, I guess, more of who you are.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you want to tell everyone.
Oh
more about
God,
yourself.
that's always such a funny question
like the-
because when you asked me what I was passionate about, talking about, I get you threw me off because I've never really been I guess, self-reflective in that way,
Okay.
and taken a step back and said, oh, I just like doing things. I do things, they make me happy, so I continue to do them, but I never really said, hey, what are those things? So even somebody asking me to talk about myself, it's so strange because I feel like I'm not really very one-dimensional and able to just be like, well, I like fitness and I enjoy board games and video games and I'm a girl. And so it's kind of like what you see is what you get. That it's difficult. I'm passionate. I try to be open-minded, which I also hate when people say that they try to be open-minded because I feel like that's a really big cop-out.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those things that you see in practice more than just in like wordplay or just them saying that. And half the time when someone says that, it usually means the exact opposite.
It always does. That's why when it comes out of my mouth, you're like, please go back inside. I don't want you to be saying that because now you sound like an idiot.
So the thing that I guess was like the trigger for me, like, 100% I need to have her on.
Oh God, what did I
like,
do?
It was nothing wild. It was more so of like
know.
you know how you kind of don't know a person, but you know them through other people.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of been.
That's how I knew myself.
That's not good.
Just kidding.
That's the worst. But
no, just kidding.
That's kind of how I guess our friend circles are for the most part. Like we have some like overlap, but like I don't even think the two of us have talked longer than we have at this point.
No, absolutely not.
But which is rather annoying to me because now that I just in talking before we started this, I'm like, fuck. Like I could have been friends with this person for a long time ago and probably would have been awesome. But
I agree.
But so there was that, and I was just kind of like, all right, well, there's no way that there's not going to be a good conversation there. I also thought in that like weird hearing about you through other people, thought that our views on certain things were 100% like 180 opposed to each other.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
thought that you and I were just completely incompatible. Like at first. Granted, I think at the time that I made that decision, a lot of my views on things have definitely changed.
Okay.
So
I'm so curious as to what they were.
This is going to be fun. All right. So
interesting.
I guess getting into the meat and potatoes. What did you come up with as the one? Probably, I guess the number one thing you would want people to. What is the value that you hold? I guess very important in terms of like, kind of how, I guess, men and women, this weird social political kind of thing we have going on right now. I know that question was terrible and was worded horrifically. But hopefully, like...
are you speaking about the dichotomy between men and women socially, dynamically, as far as... there is such a huge... there's such a huge strain and such a huge difference. And I think... I don't know. I remember telling you that I'll never call myself a feminist just because of the main reason that I feel like feminism was... I'm sure everyone will hate me for this, but it started off being man bashing. I mean, and they can say whatever they want, but if you go back and you look back, it was women not wanting to be oppressed by a man.
Right.
And so I feel like anytime you start something that has such a negative connotation and actually just flips the script and is like, you belittled us, so we want to belittle you. And that never works out. Work. And it's never good. And so I'll never call myself a feminism. I won't do that. I can never be super professional.
You don't have to be.
But thank God.
Yeah,
no.
So the premise of this show was to literally have
I flip-flop between professional and semi-professional all the time. But no, there's a strain there. But what was one of the things that... There was 180 about that. Were you talking about that specifically?
So I thought that you were like 100% the opposite of that. I thought you were 100% like just the stereotypical like feminist kind of gal.
Great.
And I was like, I was happy to learn that you were not, but like,
Don't talk to me, man.
Don't talk to me, man. Like, I was definitely expecting you to just be like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to
Wow.
like do that. And I was like, all right, that's fine
crazy,
too. But
yeah.
also, your friends also helped me, or I guess enlightened me that was not the case.
Yeah.
So I don't. I know she will be on here at some point. Liz is a good
Oh
cheerleader
yeah,
of
yeah.
yours
She's
as well.
great. She's so sweet.
Awesome girl.
She's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, once I found out about that, I was like, okay, then yeah, 100%. We gotta make this happen. That's all. Part of the reason why I was just like, all right, power's out. This is still happening. No, because
I mean,
I'm not gonna have another chance to
just
like.
the whole rundown of the
Yeah.
power going out was absolutely hilarious. But
So, I guess back in terms of like men and women,
Yeah.
what do you think is what do you think is one of like the biggest problems with that? Because I have a theory, but I'm curious to see how that lines up with other people.
So I really think for me, we all want to, especially with male, female, we all want to be equal.
Right.
There are some things that biologically we'll never be equal on because it's our anatomy. It's the way that we're made.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I'll tend to get upset if like a woman is like, oh, I could beat up that man. And I'm like, okay, that's a 300-pound heavyweight fighter. You can't.
You can't.
And like, you're born with less testosterone, so good luck with your life trying to just be stronger physically. But I think we have to actually realize that there are big differences between the two of us on a scientific level.
Right.
But then past that, we're all humans that are very different, who think very differently. But I will say, I think the meat and bones of it is that we have to stop thinking in things as a masculine trait and a feminine trait, and putting those into boxes that are labeling each person, each sex.
What do you mean by that?
So when I
Like,
say
what
that,
would
it's
you
like, you know
categorize
how
them
boys, they play sports and they're allowed to play with trucks, and these are all masculine things, and they don't cry, and they take care of the family, and they're tough, and so that is a masculine trait. So if a woman has that, which I believe I do to some extent, I've had a lot of people tell me I'm quite intimidating and I'm very physical. So as soon as you switch that over, you can start to think of that. You think of them in masculine terms, and so you'll label them in that way. And so it's not necessary, like a girl who's like that is not like okay or feminine, so you don't think of her in that way. And I think when we flip the switch towards men, and they want to play with Barbies, or they want to wear pink, I mean, even something like pink, or do something that would be considered a feminine quality, they're also ostracized for that. And I think it really starts at our core of how we are putting children and men and women into these boxes that aren't really allowing them to be expressive. And then we're also not accepting it. We're like, you're a guy that's wearing a dress, like obviously you're not straight, and you're not worthy of doing all these other things. And I think that's your biggest barrier right now for us to see people differently. I think
that there's definitely boxes that people put each other in,
right?
But I wouldn't say I necessarily 100% disagree with that. I think there are certain things in there that I would disagree with. Like I think it's easier to just like have, I would say easier, that's a bad way to put it, but there's a norm to men and women. That I think is more cultural than anything, because what that norm is changes from culture to culture.
It sure does.
But regardless of why that is, it exists.
Yeah.
So it also has existed in a way that is both helped and hindered. So my thing is, if you're going to erode that, or you're going to take that away, you want to like gray those lines. What are you losing and what are you gaining, and is that worth it? Like, so I guess to further elaborate. So, say for instance, men stereotypically are more stoic. They are considered the provider, like they're like the center of a household.
Right.
So over the years, that type of I'm so sorry. I got to make sure that this thing is recording.
Yeah.
I know I hit the button, and I know that I'm watching it there, but it's driving me nuts. So, stereotypically, I guess, like guys have held these specific roles, like in society, and the good that's come from that has been some of the great things that have happened in like X amount of years,
Right?
Like, and not just for guys, but for humankind, like just for the cultures that are. I can only speak for like the like American culture.
Right.
I've traveled and done some, like, seen other things, but I've lived here.
Right.
So, do you think it is worth graying those lines to, at the risk of losing those kind of benefits?
I feel like it's a more, anytime it's something like that, it's far more of a gradual process for that to happen. It's not something that I would even imagine to be like, okay, wake up tomorrow and then be whatever you want to do is totally fine, because we also are living cognitively in this world. So we're being influenced socially as well. And we're, like you said, our environment, we're being influenced from that also. So it's not an overnight thing. It's just more of a, I guess it's more of the psychological thing that happens to a person if they're a little bit more feminine than masculine, to have somebody tell them that they're wrong for that. Like, if they are somebody who's more emotional and who does cry or enjoy poetry or all these things that I feel like, unfortunately, on some level are considered a feminine quality, that they're like, you know, you can't be doing that. What are you doing that for? That's wrong. You're not supposed to do that. And so I feel like that's where I want those lines to be able to be more fluid, is for people to be able to experience that if they want to and not be persecuted for it. Hello.
Hello. We're recording a podcast in your home. Welcome to the podcast. Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hi. Not the reaction.
Yeah.
What did you want?
David, you're gonna have to come back out and come inside and be like, what the fuck? You look different. Do I know you?
Yeah, you do.
Why do you look so different?
I don't know. I aged like wine, I guess.
You look like so much thinner though.
I keep
This
getting
is so
that.
fucking weird, man.
I keep getting.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you,
It's
I did not
insane.
think that at all.
It's
like,
insane. I really do. I mean, thank you.
I like the hair too.
But thank you. Wow. Okay, you can stay. No.
Thank you for your permission.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
all right.
No, yeah. That's crazy.
I don't mean to interrupt. Enjoy your car.
No, you're good, dude. We knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, we were waiting for it.
It's 21 minutes. Okay. So, as far as the stereotypical stuff with men, like, take for instance, we'll I guess use some micro examples.
Yeah, please.
Like in the instance of like crying,
Right.
or showing emotion. So it's normally guys don't, and in the last podcast I actually talked to Corey about that, where that is something I don't do. Like,
It's also a scientific
it's
thing.
not-
It does go back to science,
Right.
because female hormones are different, so you are going to cry more. That's just
right,
science.
but even more so in terms of how it's received by people, it's different, and I think it's different for both good and bad reasons, or it's different for good reasons, but it has bad consequences. So just judging from my own experience, like,
Right.
the inability to do that has caused me a lot of stress. Like, and I think it does for most guys.
Really?
It's not. It's one of those things that, like, that most guys are not going to talk about that.
Right.
Because
Most guys don't. Trust
right.
me, it is a.
So, like, and even it's something that, like, even now I still don't. I still haven't totally figured that out. But I've also realized that, oh well, that's a part of it. Like, that's a part of what like is not a good feeling or a bad headspace to be in. Is just
Right.
not being able to like verbalize or find an outlet for bad feelings. However, I think though there are some people, both men and women, that if a guy did that, they would see that as being weak or.
I think a lot of people perceive crying in general as
Right.
weak, for sure.
And I guess even so much in like dating, like if a woman saw that, it's almost understandable for her to see that and go, oh, this guy.
I'm sorry.
This guy, like,
You're just like, what a fucking pussy.
what
All
the
right.
fuck? Like,
That's great.
Yeah.
No,
so like, so to a degree, I understand like why that exists. I get because. If a guy is, or anyone, and not just a guy, but if a person is like generally over emotional, like that's
Which is me privately. That's why I think it's so funny.
it's just like you would think about that as like, oh, well, this person may not deal with things well.
Yeah.
Like
So for me, in my past relationships, I've seen one of my exes cry before, and I hadn't seen any of my exes cry before, and I saw it with him, and it was actually a really, it sounds horrible, but a great moment for me. I was like, holy shit, you have feelings. And so I understand that it does tie in with weakness, but I think for me sometimes it's almost like to see a man cry, I'm like, I can work with you because you can feel. That's great. And so yeah, I love that idea. Me personally, I'll cry for like 5 minutes at night sometimes and then be like, oh, I feel so much better. Oh, so good. Now let's just go take a shower or something. Let's go brush my teeth. But I also might be emotionally unstable.
Oh, okay.
So let's not go by my word.
I don't know. I've the few times I've ever cried outside of pain were once I had like a self-contained like just mental breakdown.
Oh, those are
and
fun.
then one had to do with women, and that pissed me off after the fact. Especially like thinking back, and I was like, "Ah, come on, dude!" Like,
did you cry in front of her?
Oh
or
God,
did
no!
You? Oh.
Absolutely not. No, fuck no. And knowing her now, I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, she's
but,
vindictive.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
she's rough, but it's good to have those memories and experiences because I think now, like, I wouldn't be so hesitant to do that but the other thing is like you have to trust somebody a great deal to do that.
Yeah.
Like it's like you cannot like and that's what I was talking about initially where like the average person will not take that well. Like,
I think, yeah, and that's the other thing. When I do cry, I cry by myself. It's not something that I do in front of people. I recently have, obviously, because breakups suck.
they're not fun.
But, with my ex, he was the person who I had started crying in front of, and it was a strange feeling. So I know exactly what you're crying about. Crying in front of people is a complete
It's not
trust. Here's my entire, like, I'm vulnerable. I'm like just there and just, and it's up to you on how you take that. So I completely understand that.
I wonder if the majority of women get that. Because from a guy's perspective, being vulnerable is not... Oh, man. It's not... It's very rare that that's a good thing. It's very rare a positive.
Yeah.
Like, both mentally and, like, in physical. And what I mean by that is, like, as a guy, when you show... Especially... someone you're intending on dating, or you are already dating, or even married to, like you give them a tool, or you show them a weakness, right?
Yeah,
you show them
stab you with
right. So it's like, I don't know, and I've experienced that. I've experienced both sides of that, where like you do show a bit of vulnerability, and your relationship blossoms and is better for that. But I've also had situations where it comes back to bite me in the
Use
ass,
it
and I'm just
against
like,
you.
fuck. All right, so, but I wonder if the difference there is, I wonder if it's really even different for men and women when it comes to that.
So here's the biggest thing too, and I think this goes back to the way that we think, how we're programmed to think, and the social input that happens per person, per household, per neighborhood, per city that you're living in, anything. It's all very, very different. But I was raised very differently than like a girl would be raised. I feel like my dad always wanted a boy. So I was like, I was literally doing karate when I was 3 on the punching bag, and my dad was your typical male.
Yeah.
Never cried. He cried once in my entire life, and it was when my grandfather died. And it was like a horrible, funny story though, because it's about death, and so that'll always make me laugh. But he came into the bathroom, I was brushing my teeth, and he was crying, and he was like, look, I can cry. And I'm a little cunt, and I know that's a bad word, and you can keep it in.
Yes.
And I was like 12, and I was like, he's like, look, I'm doing it, and I was like, don't ever do that again. Like, that I didn't like, because we never cried before, so it's this ugly cry.
The worst possible picture of yourself.
No, and I was just a horrible person. I was like, well, you could go without it, you know. I said something
just not do that.
so bad, because it was like, I was like, whoa, Dad.
You were 12 though?
I was 12.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, maybe
get a pass.
pull it
All
together. Little bit, but
That's fair.
I was raised like that. My dad was stoic and don't cry, and you know, he did martial arts and got beat up and was just tough. He was a tough man. And my mom was girly as fuck.
Yeah.
She was like, here's some makeup and here's some girly dresses and here's all this stuff. So I think I grew up in a very, you know, a very clear dichotomy of the two, and I think that's why I'm not. I don't want to say that line where I say I'm not a typical girl again, because I don't like those types of things. But
it's a bad sentence.
It's a bad sentence. But I feel like I try to understand more of what it's like to just be a human on either end, or to just understand whatever human that I'm with, and that's just that's difficult because we are very different.
Yeah, but I feel like as I'm getting older, we are more the same than we are different.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think people don't get, or a lot of people don't get yet. But I think humans, as you get older, that becomes more apparent. So it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's more apparent. Like, it's more apparent throughout your just everyday life. There are moments where I have to remind myself of that a lot, like, especially at work. Like, there's plenty of moments throughout the day where I'm just kind of just like, what are you right now?
I know.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's because of that. All right, fine, man. Like, like I have those moments so often.
There are many times where I really hate to play the age card and be like, you're 21, but you're 21.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between the two of us. I don't understand you and your culture and what you're excited about.
Yeah.
I can't get there. I'm so sorry. I care about, like, am I going to bed by 9? Yeah. I got to get up early. I don't know. I put my savings away this week. You know, it's crazy.
Did I guess what, back to what you were saying before, what caused you to, or was there a moment where like it clicked where it was like, oh, I should be more conscientious, or conscientious. There it is.
Conscientious.
Conscientious. I still fucked it up. Fucking that word. Like conscientious.
I sounded real racist there too somehow. I don't know how or what I was racist about, but
there's the whole YouTube channel. It's gone. All right, it's gone. Thanks, appreciate it.
I'm so sorry. You said no holds bars. You said it was for anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
You said I literally have no value whatsoever. Please come on my podcast. I think you're a great person, but you're just like everyone else.
You're just like everyone else. That is the long play, so that when I do get celebrities on here, they don't get
fucking cocky.
Yeah. Perfect. That's the plan. That's the plan.
Cocky bastard.
But no, like, was there a moment where you kind of, I guess, did you ever think of yourself as like a feminist at any point?
That's like a loaded question because
Okay.
it has to go back just a tiny bit. So, growing up, I don't think I ever really hated men because I was a daddy's girl. So I loved
It's hard
my
to
dad.
hate men and then also like.
Yeah, and I was just always like, "That's my dad. That's my dad." But I thought I was a lesbian for
Okay.
at least 18 years.
Okay.
And so I never really hated men. I just had no interest in them romantically. I always had guy friends. They're so easy to get along with for me because I also snorted milk up my nose, which is not a good thing to do. But yeah, so I always clicked with them really well. So I could never man bash them. But I do remember getting to a point in my life where I was like 19 and I think I was just abusive to people. I love my parents to death. And they're not the people they were when I was growing up, but they were very abusive to each other. And I grew up in like this war zone. So I think I just had anger and it was sitting there. And so I just became abusive towards people. I would take advantage of people. I would just be mean. I didn't care. And I think honestly that's when I started to abuse men specifically because culturally, a guy will buy you a drink. A guy likes a pretty lady. There's all these things to do to manipulate a man being a woman, which really sucks that I did that. But I knew that I could.
Yeah.
And I don't remember when it was that I really realized, like, wow, I can't do this to people. Like, this is really wrong.
I think every guy's been at a bar and bought a drink for somebody and then, like, gotten the shoulder.
Yeah.
Which, it sucks, but that's one of those things as a guy where it's just like, oh, that's just how things are. Like, it's just like.
But I just don't think that that's fair.
It's
to
not.
guys.
It's not.
Like
but
100%. Like if you know, like. First of all, I know it's leading into a lot because it's the connotation that if I buy you a drink, you'll sleep with me, which I think we all know is the ideal play here. But
I don't want to cut you off because I do want to finish that thought. But I would say that is turning to. I bought you a drink. I expect you to at least spend some time in this conversation.
Just talk to me.
Like that's the. It's like I spent what. Tops $10+.
Yeah.
Like I'm not assuming that you're going to sleep with me for $10+.
Right.
What I am assuming
I probably
is that
would have. No.
$10
$10?
whole dollars.
Whoa,
Holy
hold on.
shit.
Top shelf.
But like,
well,
you expect like some kind of like give and take here.
Exchange. Yeah, it's
and
an
then
exchange of goods.
But you're
Which
the
sounded worse. I'm so sorry.
Probably not great, but it's more so of like. Now, or at least then, it might be changing now. I don't know. It might be tilting back over the other end.
We haven't been to bars in a while.
I also haven't been to bars in a while. I've been single for probably too long, but that's okay. That's another person. But
do it.
Yeah.
Man, I've been single for like 2 whole weeks.
I know. I was gonna say like you're on the other end of the spectrum
I'm
right
like
now.
on the bitter end. I will tell you exactly to be single for forever.
But no, like it's just kind of a given that a guy is going to put up that initial risk. Even like in asking people out or it's like it's assumed that the guy is going to put up the initial risk.
Which I have a funny story about later too.
Okay, interesting. I'm sorry, you had another thought that I don't want.
I love all this. I love where everything is going. I was just talking about the assumption of buying the drink and leading to
perfect
to sex. That's all we were on.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, and this goes back to it. If you are a female and you know that you don't want to invest in this person at all, because that's fair. Like, the point of going to a bar, first of all, is normally to hook up. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah. Secondly, we're looking at people, and it's just a human nature thing to look at somebody and go, would I sleep with that person? Would I even want to get to know them? Am I attracted to that person? Yeah. And I don't think that's vain to say. I don't think it's rude to say. I think that is literally just, we're humans. That's how it works. So if you see that somebody's like, oh, that guy bought you a drink, and you look over and it's Haggard Magoo, you're like,
all right.
Okay, so much. Like, I would probably be like, like give it back to him or tell him no thank you or something like that, because I just don't. But I'm a big person on principle. So for me, I'd be like, I just really don't want to, like, you can give it back to him.
Yeah.
And if they continue to insist, then I really feel that that's more on their end, because I've put up my thing where I'm like, I'm not interested.
Right.
No. But some people are like, yes.
I think the confusion is there was a culture of, about the whole, what's that song called? It's a Christmas song that's been like,
My parents are Jewish.
oh God.
You're asking the only Jew in the room.
It's like
If
super
she knows. No, I'm just kidding.
popular.
Is it the Mariah Carey one?
No. It's like, I don't want to sing the song
Is
because I
it 30
can't
days?
sing.
30 days of Christmas, reindeer.
No, it's the one where the woman's trying to leave and the guy's trying to convince her to stay.
Don't leave, have sex with me on Christmas.
That's the song right there. She knew it right up.
I was that
It's
girl.
cold outside.
No.
It's cold outside. That's
Is that,
the song.
Oh,
yes,
you're
that's the
super
song.
right. That is
Yes,
exactly
that's
what
it's
they're
called.
talking about. Though.
Right.
I totally forgot.
So, but like so that's been like in like headlines for the last.
Everyone always sings it so happy.
Yeah.
Like, she's probably gonna get raped.
But it's like, this is a
it's
great
too damn
song.
cold for her to be going outside.
But like that culture existed where like as a guy you would initiate, then the woman would say no, but in a manner that expected you to continue.
You are totally right.
Like and
That
it's
is
like some people
it was part of the dance.
Right,
back
it was
then.
part
it
of
really
it. Like
was.
yeah.
That's how
and
the
I think some
culture
people still
worked.
think that is, or that they assume that, oh, my dad told me that's how it was back then. Like,
because I'm just having a thought of like, whenever you see people fight,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the girl's like, you don't care about me. Yes, I do. I don't think you do. Yes, I do. And it's like that thing where they want you to keep saying it because they really want to know that you do. So it's like, no, I don't love you. Come on, baby. No. Yes.
I just imagine all your arguments like this. No.
I don't love you anymore. Do you like me still? I don't want to have anything to do with you.
But
if you've seen the Key and Peele,
fuck.
Megan,
God damn
isn't it? Isn't it Megan? Oh God,
I think it is
Megan.
Megan.
That's the culture that you're talking about. Is I say no, but like,
come on, like, and man, I think as a guy that is the shittiest thing in the world. It's so frustrating to like be like, all right, are you fucking with me right now, or
are we fucking?
Like, are we fucking? Like, what is happening right now?
Which part are we at?
I do think though, which is nice, just from the few like, I don't use Tinder, but like online, it's fucking.
I can't do online dating.
It's the worst. But
look at me. How do I put that? How do I put all of what you've seen on the fucking?
Just link them to the novel.
I really I'm basically like Megan from Key and Peele. I cry alone for 5 minutes every night. I'll probably abuse you.
You interested? Like,
1,000 people will.
No, not even kidding. Like 100%. That would happen.
I could literally put that as my profile, and I would have
seen
people do it like inboxing me. It's like a social experiment that I already know the results to.
Yeah. But man, it's so weird. Like I both empathize, but also I'm like, come on, dude. When dudes do that, like it was just like, I get it, man. I totally understand. You've been fucking jacking off for like the past 15 months. I get it, dude. You're just trying to stick it in. I understand.
You ran out of your lotion jar.
Yeah, dude.
You don't want to go back
expensive.
to Costco.
I understand.
I totally get it.
But
I understand. It's
but
not
please,
the same as a woman hand.
Yeah.
I get it.
Totally get it.
A little bit softer. Except I lift weights. Mine are not soft.
Yeah.
I would have to file them down, like honestly,
no
I would.
callus.
No, there was a time that I was given a hand job, and I was like, "Oh shit! I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
Like
he's like, "Fuck!"
I'm gonna go in, and you're just like, "I'm still sexy." Babe. Don't worry about it.
As the
shaving side, I'm like, I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you.
It's gonna be so good. You keep going at it, and I'm gonna come back in. Hold on, you need there. Is that what you like?
It's working.
We're good.
Just a white cloud.
We're golden. We're golden.
It's like, did you have like chalk on before? No, like you just.
No,
oh man, I don't know.
Gymnastics.
Fuck.
On the bars. What's
Oh,
up,
man.
baby? That's how I talk. That's my sexy voice.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Hi,
I think that we've stumbled onto another problem.
no, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got completely on. We're very.
No.
Yeah,
I was
no,
making
we're
a bad
very.
joke.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, I didn't notice it. No,
It's okay. It's fine. That's what I was
I'm a
expecting.
terrible person.
That's why I don't have that many subscribers.
Oh my god.
No.
I almost said you guys are horrible people. The people who are here are good people.
Yeah.
The people who are not are horrible people. Go tell your friends. Your loved ones, your family members. I don't know. Grandma would
Some
love
people.
this thing.
Would she?
She'll be like, she's such a nice girl.
I am
Look at her.
terrified. Well, I guess I'm not anymore. There was a point in time where I was terrified of like my parents stumbling onto like my online stuff. Now I kind of just
All
like
of your porn?
all of my porn, all of it, every single last one. I have an entire category on Pornhub specifically for me.
I love porn.
Everyone
I'm
loves
sorry.
Pornhub. They're on top of their shit.
They really are. God bless them.
But I was always like, oh man, they're gonna find this, and then I'm gonna like be disowned by my family at some point. But I also, I guess more recently, I'm just kind of going like, okay, well, if that happens, it happens. Like it's just like,
you know what? That
it's
goes
not
back
a big
to
deal.
growing up and like getting older, and so now I know. I seriously, when I was younger and I saw an 80-year-old woman, just you could see her fucks that were given were so fucking gone. They were like negative. They were like, give it. She didn't care, and I'm like, wow, lady, get your shit together.
Yeah. She's like,
no.
oh, I have my shit together. I just
No.
don't care.
I don't give a fuck, bitch. Keep on with yourself. I'm doing great. And so I'm slowly getting to that 80-year-old woman where I'm like,
Well, you're not.
I mean,
Okay. All right.
well, yeah,
let's
mentality where it's like,
Okay.
this is you, this is me, so I don't understand. I'm not, but I've been this way for a very long time. My parents know 10,000% who I am, and they, like, my dad used to call me the general as a kid. 'Cause I was
general.
so bossy. So,
That is a weird thought, though. To jump off of that into
Yeah,
like
let's do it.
this bossy thing.
Yeah.
Where I've heard a lot that like where women are more assertive.
yeah.
Like it's.
I feel like you're going down a path that I'm.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay.
'Cause
all right.
I want to hear it for sure.
When women are more assertive is the word I'm looking for. There
Pounding
is.
it
I got
down.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a great episode.
The
This
wrong-
is gonna be a good one.
It's like the verbiage I choose is
Yeah.
so wrong.
But people, it's like a turnoff for both men and women, like not in a sexual way or not in a romantic way, where it's like, oh, well, she's just a bitch, or
Yeah.
like from a guy's perspective, it's like, oh, well, she's just very like, or from a woman's perspective, she's very catty, or from a man's perspective, she's a bitch. Like, I think I've never had that thought process. It's weird. Like
Bless you, because,
granted,
yeah.
I've not. I don't know if I. No, I have. I was gonna say I haven't had many interactions with like very assertive women, but then I realize now I'm like counting them in my head. Yeah, but it's for me. It's mostly been in the workplace, and in those situations, I kind of just go like, okay, well, what would I be like if I was in that person's shoes?
Your position of power.
Yeah.
So you're.
I do think that a lot of people don't think about that, and it frustrates me. I do want to talk about that because
Yes, please.
it sucks. I have a lot of. No, I won't say that because I still work there. But there's like there's a lot of like where people don't realize that they're abusing that power, but they just are they've been given this gift, and then they just kind of shit on everyone else with it. But
Yep.
I digress. More so in terms of like with women when
Yeah.
when they're very assertive. I almost prefer that because I'm shitty at picking up on cues, and shitty.
Me too. First of all,
horrific at it. So I prefer when someone is a lot more like forward.
who's like, hey, I'm hitting on you, asshole.
I'm like, ah, there it is. Thank you,
Oh,
appreciate
thank
it.
God, really?
Yeah, we can do
Yes.
this. This is easy now.
Yes.
Like, cool.
Like-
like, but I think
That's me, by the way.
perfect.
So.
Like, I applaud you.
Which goes back, which continue because
I
I like this little back and forth thing that's happening.
that doesn't happen for guys like almost ever, probably ever for some, very little for most, I would imagine.
Yeah. First of all, hitting on that point that you said about bossy and bitchy, and I am myself. I know I'm a very sometimes overconfident or assertive, bossy, whatever person. So I've run into that quite a few times.
Okay.
Especially when I was managing. It is a tricky role, especially.
I always forget we did the same job.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
And when I was doing it was all male.
Yeah.
So, and there was only, obviously you know who the other female was, but who's also in a position of power, and things were said that had nothing to do with her, but just because I think she was a woman. But so it was like butting heads sometimes, even though I was like, in my head, I'm like, I am your manager. Like, this is a thing that I would do as a manager, but yet I feel like you were saying because I'm, this role as a woman and you're a man, sometimes I could feel that friction.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%. Or be seen as a bitch for just doing my job.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what you were talking about, is just take yourself away from that and go, oh, she's a manager.
Yeah.
She's asking me to do this thing because it's part of her job.
That's fine, by the way. It's not that big of a deal.
It's a huge fucking deal.
You're ruining the... No.
You're ruining my take. I feel like Terminator. I feel like Christian Bale. Am I off here moving the lights while you're walking around?
God, I forgot about that.
Okay, so the only reason I absolutely love that is, I'll go a little off topic, but the Family Guy skit that they did when Peter inserts the voice for it.
I need to watch more Family Guy. I'm sorry.
You can just find the clip online because that's the only good thing from that season. And but he's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Bale. Are you fucking sorry? And so it's just a good one. But yes, I've been called a lot of different things that I think had nothing to do with me personally, or the position I was, or with the position that I was in, only because I was a woman. And God, I think people in general, but we're talking about male-female situations here. Some men cannot handle a strong woman or anybody telling them what to do, but for some reason
it's worse when it's
so much harder the other way.
Like, I would agree there that guy exists. I've met that guy many a times. My thought when that topic always comes up is I wonder how many of those guys there are. Because
not very many.
Yeah,
it's a small number. It's not. That's why I can't be a feminist, because I can't imagine that every man is like that. Because I've met so many men that I think are just great people and human beings and are very much about equality and being like, like you're like, yeah, I don't really cry very often, but I'm not gonna associate that with thinking that a female's any lesser for that.
No.
So, and and that's, but there are people out there who see it that way.
The way I see the issue, I guess, with men and women is that some people would like for us to be equal, and their idea of equal is 50-50 down the board.
That's impossible. That will never happen.
In my head, but the thing that I've been, I guess, recently.
I want to do the arm thing too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It just seems so much more relaxed. Yeah. We're here.
The more I look into it, the more I want to find out about how different that is on an emotional level, though, because I think it's very easy to go, okay, well, most men are stronger than women. Easy. All right, cool. So most physically stronger than women.
We have more testosterone. That's your bottom
line. It's pretty easy to do that if you have a lot more testosterone.
It maintains your muscles and your strength in general. But it also does mess with your emotional core, because you're not going to cry as often. You're going to think more logically. You're going to have a more linear thought process than a female, because, you don't get a period.
I don't. It's dope.
I bet it's the best thing ever.
Class.
If you ever got stabbed in the stomach, I'd just be sitting there like,
now you
know.
Period. Like, it's so, God, yeah, it's horrible. It's the worst.
I would imagine. Not really, but
So we are so completely different.
my thing is though, like how it's scary to think though if we are different on a more mental and emotional scale, how do you make that balance? But sorry, I'm going all over the place. To go back to my original thing, what I was saying is some people want us to be 50-50 right down the board, like we're the same. We're like there's no reason to have the word men and women or men,
Which is also impossible, and I really
wild
hate that,
to me.
and I'm so sorry.
But
I hate to be that person, but
it's not. That's not a thing.
impossible.
But I think that we are different, but we are also equal. It was what's the term? Equal but different, or equal but not the same, or something like that. Like
we're equal as in we are humans. We are all biologically the same. We all feel on this spectrum,
right.
but we are physically different because we're male and female.
I think we on certain things feel differently too.
Absolutely.
And what I'm getting at is more so is like we are different, but we need what is different about you and what's different about me to make shit work. Like
no, it's the
yin
masculine,
yang
feminine
like thing
that we
like,
both have.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Like you mean by that, like so. I would need the masculine traits that would be found in most women. Is that what you? Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
So, I read this book quite a while ago, and it kind of broke it down in a way that made the most sense to me, which is we all have masculine and feminine traits within us,
right.
And that's just our flow, which I think goes back to basically saying that men have, I think it's estrogen and testosterone, and women have testosterone and estrogen,
right.
But the percentages are off.
Completely, yeah.
And so I think that's what we're talking about when we say masculine and feminine. I would take like testosterone and be like, that's masculine if we had to label things. And
right.
I'd be like, so, some men have anywhere between 50 to 80% testosterone, and then I hate math, so the other percent would be the estrogen or whatever. And some women fluctuate between theirs just biologically, chemically. So I think that's what I mean. If those can be more fluid, like if they're allowed to, if you have a guy who has a little bit more femininity, to just allow that to happen and to be and to flow, I think things would be a lot easier. But we are so but just to accept it, I think that's really what it is, just to accept it instead of bashing.
I think we're getting there. I think in terms
so
of
too.
that, I think the problems that we have now are more laced in like political like banter. I think in terms of the day-to-day person, like I'm not going to name any names, but in the past few months, some of the friends I've met through just playing Magic, which I don't even play as much as I used to, but
I only know how to play Pauper.
That's more
which is now a format, by the way.
Yeah, which is very like
playing it before it was a thing. No,
but like I've ran into people that I've recently, I don't say recently, it's not that long ago, but that I found out were bi, that no idea, no clue, that like there was no stereotypical thing that you could have known to like, oh, that dude's like into girls and guys, like and then I've met people that I won't say who, but I'll just say they've been on this podcast who I thought were like more feminine than masculine, but like that didn't stop me from making a friendship with them.
Right.
Like
I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Like, and I think through doing that, I've fucking opened my mind to a lot of different things, which is awesome. Like I'm still very anchored in like my own sexuality. Like I'm very much heterosexual. Like
which a lot of men who
like I'm attracted to women. I apologize.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like I think what's interesting, just to jump off that really quick. I think what's interesting is like that certainty there that I love, because I have a friend who's like that, who's like, no, I'm straight, and so I'm bisexual. So for me, I'm like, yeah, like it's a strange thing to be like, just the one.
Just the one? Just the one? Really?
Like, choose just the,
like,
and it's a strange concept for me, so I'm always quite curious, but then I know that it only has to do with like biology and what you're actually attracted to, but for me I'm like, but they're both so cool. They're both so different. I don't have a problem. I'm just curious. I think it's more of my curiosity because like I'm also set in that, which also brings back, I'm just jumping around.
No, go for it.
Sorry. But
until they kick us out.
Which has been very difficult for me because I labeled myself as a lesbian and then I thought I was straight and then I was eventually like, whatever, I'm gonna do whoever I'm gonna do. And when I was in the lesbian community, as soon as I started sleeping with guys, they ostracized me. And and it was a strange thing because, they called me like a traitor and...
What?
So...
There's no war going on.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. Like, you switched sides, bitch. Like, I just wanted to see what a dick was like because I was afraid of them for a good long while. I thought they were going to bite me. I don't know. They don't. They just spill shit on you that you're not happy to have on you just because it gets cold so fast.
I think that's with any bodily fluid whatsoever.
It just gets cold so fast.
It's quick.
It's like instant. It's like warm. Oh! Shit! Yes, get a towel. And they're like, I can't get a towel. You gotta go.
Dude, all right. Guys, I'm talking to you.
Oh, yeah, because I don't...
If you've met someone that is totally cool with the concept of you, this is still YouTube, so I can't.
Spilling a seed.
Spilling a seed.
Okay.
On their person, and you
claim their territory.
You've claimed your territory, and you can't get a fucking towel or something to fucking. I hate you. Like, I hate you. Know that most people hate you.
Just have one handy.
Go get the fuck out of the bed. Go get one. Like, it's super. Like, you're done. You've done your part.
If
like,
not,
it's like,
I'm just rolling over on their bed.
That's fair.
And
I feel like that's fair.
But I feel like maybe they just, if they couldn't get a towel, then they don't care either.
But like, that's so fucking weird, man.
It is weird. I encountered that way back when in like my teenage years of experimenting, and
maybe that's like a young
scooped
guy
it
thing.
up and just threw it at him.
That's fair.
So do that too.
That works.
Honestly, teach them. But
it's like it's yours, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it came out of your. So, God, this is such a straight. Oh, I can't believe I'm even gonna say it.
Oh shit!
But it's so weird.
Exclusive.
I'm gonna say it.
All right.
So if I were a man,
okay,
and maybe this is just because I'm bisexual, but like I would taste my semen. I would at least want to know. And so many men I've asked have been like, I don't want to taste it, and I'm like, well, I'll even taste myself. So like. It's it's another strange concept of, would you taste yourself? I love these questions that I'm coming up with.
Let me tell you that most dudes probably have, but won't say it. And I'm not saying it in the way of like, and then like, take a whip and then like put it on their tongue.
You can't take a whip. It's like, but you're just getting the juice.
But what I will say is that any man who has had certain sexual acts performed on them and immediately made out with that same person, you've tasted it.
In
like, you know what it tastes like. Or at least have a hint. It's not, like, going to be foreign to you. But
it's mixed with something.
Yes, yeah. You don't get the pure,
so you're like, this isn't...
Concentrate.
I'll just do, like, one of those out of the side or something
we're good.
like that.
But to say that you have no idea is...
Yeah, you were a 13-year-old. If I was a 13-year-old boy,
that probably
I wouldn't put it in a cup, maybe, because it's just not good like that.
Yeah, it's probably a bad idea.
But just, scuba tape. But I don't know, that's a strange concept for me. But
I've never really thought about that at all. But like,
I think about it because I don't have a dick, so it's a lot easier for me to think about stuff.
I guess just as growing up as a guy, you see visualization of like your shit all over someone else or something else.
How uncomfortable it makes them, and you're like, I don't ever.
Yeah, you're like, I
don't ever want to experience.
It's like you're a trooper, but fucking, I don't want to deal with any of that.
Which is crazy because like in TMI, I don't really care, but I enjoy the taste.
Yeah.
So like, I have no.
You're not the
problem
first
with
one I've
it.
heard that say that. Like, I don't think you're alone in that.
Yeah,
but-
because they're also whores.
Yeah.
No, I'm just-
All right. Well.
I just,
Okay. just go ahead and.
I'm so sorry. It's funny. We're not. We're high. We're like $10,000 whores, so that's totally fine. That makes it better for some reason.
The more money.
Yeah, you know. So, oh my God, you could tell a woman she's a whore, and I know I'm generalizing, and they'd be like, "Excuse me?" Be like, "No, like a $10,000 a night whore," and they'd be like,
All right.
"Thank you." So that's what I think is so strange, but I really do think you could tell that to a woman. But and if you could get that other part out before you get slapped,
or like water thrown at you or something like
something
that.
like that.
I do want to talk about that too, but I digress. I don't want to.
Yeah. Oh, have I thrown water on someone I forgot?
Have you?
I mean, I've thrown water in a lot of people's
Oh,
faces.
okay.
So when I was younger, no,
All
no,
right.
I just mean yeah.
I think that is.
It's super disrespectful. It's not okay. I don't ever think it's okay to enter anyone's personal bubble. I will definitely say that. From all the shit that I did when I was younger,
Yeah.
I know that for sure is never something that
It's just
should
fucked.
be done.
Because when it comes to physical altercations, as a guy, you're fucked. You have no way to there's no record. Like
You can't.
You have no physical recourse to that.
That's
like,
what sucks.
It's
Yeah,
just
you
like
can't. You have to just sit there and take it, and like you can't even like. Even if you grappled her and didn't cause her any harm except put her in a submission and call the cops and be first of all the cops would laugh at you, which is sad as fuck, because if a guy threw water in a girl's face,
you're out. Like the fucking
bartender or bouncers have got you.
You are lifted above their head at this point, and you're getting yeeted out the door. Like
Yeah.
there's no there's no question. And as a guy, you know that. So it's just
Isn't
like
that
you're like, all
crazy?
right, shit.
And you know what? As a girl, they know
yeah,
that.
and it's fucked. It's so fucked. I hate it.
They know that. They can just be like, oh, really?
But
What do you guys think about it? Because guess what? I'm going to keep dancing all night with my friends. You get out. Okay, bye. And so, yeah.
Best Megan.
You know what's funny? Talking about that subject. So I was a really angry kid, like girl. And first of all, I'd get into bars illegally. I was like 18.
Okay.
And second of all, I was so angry. I would pick fights with the tallest, buffest dude in the place. Because I just wanted to get into a fight. And it's crazy because, like, I trained with men. Like, that's all I ever trained with was, like, guys 50 plus my, pounds and all that kind of stuff. Because, first of all, there were no girls in the class, which is also very sad because I
had a very different martial arts experience.
Oh, yeah.
There were guys and girls. There were also younger children who were there, and they had us train both. And in the moment, it feels comfortable. You're fine. But as a guy, thinking back on that, like, holy shit, why was I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
But I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm throwing your line of thought off.
No, because there was a moment. It wasn't until my instructor. So I was in Krav Maga and I taught Krav Maga for about a year, but I was in it for about 2-3 years. I taught Taekwondo for about 4 years, and I was in it for 6. And I have multiple like teaching levels and stuff like that. So the reason I trained with guys was not because, I was a girl who just wanted to let out aggression. It was because I was technically really good. And I think one of my favorite moments within training was always when you'd be paired up with a guy and they would look at...
Sorry, I'm looking at him because I'm waiting for him to be like...
bitch. No, I'm just kidding. It's your house. I'm just...
No, it was just funny because I walked by and just me like...
No, I looked at you because I'm waiting for you guys to be like, yeah, we got to go to sleep. I
I want to sleep at like 2.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
perfect.
Okay, cool. This is not my.
I won't tuck you in, but I will say goodnight.
Okay.
Okay. He's like, I don't want you to touch me. I never gave you an okay. This is the personal boundary we were talking about earlier. But no, as it always was, the look on the face was like, oh, you're going to train with Layah today.
Yeah.
And because I was the only other girl, and there definitely is a stereotype because they would always go really like light, and then I'd go like 70%, and they're like, their mitts would fly off, and they're just like, wow, you're really tough. And I was like, cool, that's 70%. Are you ready for like 90?
Let's actually
like, are we gonna do this thing?
I'm more so in the camp of like, I am so afraid. I even like emotionally as a guy, I'm so afraid of being too aggressive. Even when I was in martial arts, getting to the end of it, which I definitely don't have as much time as you do in it. I only did it for 3 years total.
That's still a good chunk of time, honestly.
But like, there were times where like they would have some of the people that have been there for a little bit train the newer kids, and especially in striking, like there was a moment where I was training one of the he's a good friend of mine, he's a good guy, but one of his $2 were in two of his $3 were in the class, and they had me spar with her in striking.
What was the age difference here?
She at the time had to have been either 16, I think 16 or 15, one of the two.
Oh, those are hollow bones.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is a bad idea. But after doing it, I was like, oh, this is genius. Because what it did for her was it refined her technique, because she couldn't be sloppy, like against a guy like me, who's like way taller than her, way stronger than her. Like, it got to the point where we would get into practice, and she would want to spar with me or like one of the guys, because she knew that there were no shortcuts when it came to whether it was with jiu-jitsu or just like Muay Thai striking. Like there were no shortcuts when you're fighting a guy. And she was like not an average 15 or 16 year old. She was
boobs.
Yeah, well, no, she was in. Yep, there it is. All right, guys, it's been great. I'm gonna get locked up. No, but
Gotcha.
No, gotcha. No, it was more so of like she was in shape. Like she had a little bit of pepper to her punches. Like she could throw a punch. She knew what she was doing.
That's good.
So when she would like spar with other girls her age, it's fucking easy.
Been in that
like
boat.
yeah,
Been
like
in that
it.
boat.
So I understand why they did it, and I'm happy for her why they doing that.
But it does hold you back a little
But
bit. But
yeah, as for me, it was just more so of like, oh man, like I don't want to accidentally hurt this girl. Like, but I don't know. That I feel like that mentality is something that I am trying to figure out when is best to think that way and when it's not, because there's a lot of times, even as a guy, I think the number one word to define what's the word, masculinity, is balance. Like, because you're expected to be so many different things at the appropriate time, and if you're not, it's catastrophic. Like the consequence for not being that is fucking brutal. Like in physical,
you guys do have a lot of expectations on you. Like I mean, if you really
I think
pull
both
back,
do, obviously. Like, but
I feel like I've been a girl for so long, and I've shattered so many things because I am very tomboyish. So I think I just always went on this thing where like I'm a tomboy. Yeah. So like I just never had these expectations of like, I was gonna say weight or something, but I was anorexic for 4 years. And I was overweight growing up, so I've always been bullied. But I don't know, especially at this point in my life, I'm like, I don't have expectations to be a woman because I've just accepted that I'm me. But sometimes I pull back, and I, like you were talking, I see the expectations that are on men, the things that you're talking about are very true as to how we see, like, don't fall apart, I need you right now.
Yeah, but also don't be emotionally unavailable. Like,
it's
like,
it's such
and you need to know when that balance is. And it's rough.
And you can't read our minds, and so, boy, that's a big thing, because I've had a lot of female friends who have had like issues or relationship issues, and they'll come to me, and I'm like, have you told him what you need?
Yeah,
do you, like
no,
no, he should know. Why?
Why should he know it?
Have we developed telepathy? Has this been a thing that I didn't know about? Like, men are just receivers. Like, we're pumping it out.
Oh, man.
And he's picking it up. So if I'm like, I'm mad at you. Hey, baby, how's it going?
That's great.
What do you think it's going? I'm pissed off. Like, but you don't say that.
Yeah,
it's just
it's
in your
like-
head. And so you're like, I'm fine. Okay, good. I'm going to go get dinner started.
It's like, I don't know. To be fair, I have been pretty lucky in that. I've only had that to, I think, that degree with one woman that I've been with. I've just witnessed it so many times that at a certain point, I'm not. I guess I don't know. It's something I definitely think about, but like I'm not afraid of it now. But it's definitely something when you get into the dating sphere with people. It's just like, all right, are
Oh,
you
God,
gonna
I
like
have to do that all over again
yes,
one
like,
day.
fuck, can you not just tell me like what we're gonna be dealing with here?
But then I've run into situations where, you know, I am very vocal and I am very like, hey, this is what I need from you right now. Just so you know,
Yeah.
I'm upset. It was because of this thing. And as I'm talking about this thing, I'm aware that that's a stupid reason to be upset. But it made me upset. And I just need to go cool off for a little bit. And I just want you to know that I'm going to cool off and I'm going to go do my thing. And I think that where I get into trouble with that is, I don't know, we're humans. So like my mood changes every 5 minutes. So I'll get really upset and be like, I just need some space. And then come back downstairs like everything is really great. And so I've been called like emotionally abusive, I guess, in that way, or to have that back and
That
forth
seems
where
like the
it's
opposite of abuse.
well, where
That
it's
seems
like,
like the
you
most
changed your
straightforward-
mind on how your mood was. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, because that's just like...
But
what
that was the point of
happens
you
is what I'm
cooling
telling you.
off, is though, like, right?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
The point is to get back down to that.
Or I guess because it would be like, I don't really want to go to that party on Friday because I'm having a bad day today. And then Friday comes and I'm like, you know what? I really do want to go to that party.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, changed your mind. Well, that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that too many times. But I think if a guy does that, oh, that's such generalization.
Yeah.
In my past, men are a lot more fluid with things like changing than women are. Like they have a much easier time. They're less
What do you mean
disappointed.
by things? Because I feel like that might be the
like
opposite.
plans. Like a lot of times,
okay, I see
if
what
a
you're saying.
plan changes, they'll just be like, okay, cool. And I'm very much like that also because I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go take a bath. Like I don't know what I'm just gonna go do that thing. But I feel like a lot more women don't hate me. A lot more women get upset, especially if a guy changes plans on them. Like if let's say two people are dating, right? And a woman's like, I want to go to dinner on Friday night, and we're gonna go do this dinner thing. It's gonna be great. And then the guy's like, babe, I'm just rough day at work.
Yeah.
I want to stay home. Let's stay home tonight. And I normally am the person who's like, cool, let's play video games.
Yeah.
Like, let's do that thing. You know, but I feel like a lot of times in relationships, you want to go to dinner.
Yeah.
I think there's a separation there sometimes, which sucks. And I think either partner can do it, but they forget that they're with a human being.
Yeah. I also think that the mental prep work that goes into preparing for a dinner date like that from both parties, like if they're the one who's still in the mind frame of like, oh, I'm going to do it. Also, like canceling it at the end is probably not the best way. Not trying to blame the guy in this situation. This hypothetical situation.
But it happens.
But it happens. My way of combating that, because I've made, I don't want to call it a mistake, but I've done that in the past where I've like made plans and then like
you're
at the end,
exhausted or something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that happens.
That's a fair reason.
the best way to combat that though is communication. Like, because I've learned that over, like, it's just like, okay, so I'm having a bad day at work. When I have a break, I'm probably going to text my girlfriend and be like, hey, this is happening or whatever. Or may start off with just like, hey, how's your day going? Blah, blah, blah. And then with like,
I'm so sorry.
What?
No, continue and I'll tell you about that.
Okay.
I just,
But the point I'm trying to make is like, you can alleviate that disappointment if you
Early on, if you know.
the earlier, because imagine in her case, she's been at home or she's been at work.
Oh, because the
Like,
women are at home? No, I'm not
the women are at home in the kitchen where they belong. No.
It's really scary outside the kitchen, I'll tell you that much. Like,
But no, like
can't believe I'm here.
She's chilling.
the kitchen
It
is
is
right
close.
there,
It is
and I
right
keep
there.
looking at it, and I know I have to go in there.
That's why.
and I have to clean immediately. I have to get my apron on, and I have to do a woman's due
That's why
diligence.
it's walled off at my place, so you can't see it. So you don't have to worry.
I tried to get in there.
Yeah.
I saw it. I actually did
It's too
peek.
dark.
Yeah, but I was like, I got to do the dishes.
But no, like you can manage people's expectations. That's literally the name of the game. Manage people's expectations.
And here's the other
That's how you do
hardest
it.
part of that too is the flip side of that, and the thing that I've heard from people, which is absolutely impossible, is when people are like, "Oh, this is why you shouldn't have expectations."
That's
Fuck
stupid.
you, dude.
That doesn't
because
make
it
sense.
is absolutely impossible for somebody like it's like saying, "Hey, don't get excited that we're gonna go pet a whole bunch of puppies tomorrow." Like, I'm gonna be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah.
And then so if someone's like, "Hey, we're not gonna go pet those puppies," I mean, yeah, I'd be kind of
like,
devastated.
You're dead now. Like,
Yeah, like, well, but why can't we pet the Are you dying?
I mean,
You should actually boost your blood cells by going to pet puppies.
it seems like a win-win to me.
I'll
like,
put you in the trunk. I don't know. I guess you could sit in the passenger seat or whatever.
yes,
But
I'm gonna get a puppy when I leave, so you're gonna have to move on the way
yeah,
back. But
so it is. I like that better. Managing expectations.
manage people's expectations. Like,
It's
granted,
so
you
much
can't.
easier.
Like, there's to a degree. Some people are unreasonable. So you could do that whole thing, and
No,
then
I'm just
like
kidding,
you get back, and they're still upset, and you're just like, all right, well,
I guess
nothing I can do
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's worked for me. That's a tip for you people.
Yeah,
For the
honestly.
guy that
and
is.
yeah, from a guy to a guy, but also from
No,
a
saying
girl
from a guy
to,
that is currently single.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah, I'm
here's
also
a tip.
single, so listen to all of our advice. We've definitely. I was broken up
Winner.
with, so I'm obviously doing the good part
Class.
of it. So no, it was. Yeah, it's true, and just remember that they're people. But it's so funny because I feel like we're gonna talk about relationships just really quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's crazy though. In this last relationship, I feel like I lost a huge part of myself towards the end. Like, and I think it did have to do with managing expectations. There were expectations that I think I had that were, some of them I think were reasonable. And then others I realized were unreasonable, but I think it was just because I was getting very unhappy and he was getting very unhappy. So all people who are in relationships, if you feel unhappy, go to therapy or break up. Mine didn't want to go to therapy, unfortunately. But don't stay in that. But
I've done that before. That's a bad idea.
the therapy
No.
or
the staying in a relationship that is clearly fucking like nosediving, and you're just like, no, it'll get better.
You just are. You're just taking the water
it'll be fine.
in the boat that has a big hole, and you're like, "This is great, guys.
good.
I'm
No
telling
problem."
you, everything is gonna be fine, honey. He's getting eaten by the shark, and it's okay. He's gonna come back. We're gonna be together. It's fine." I think that was me in my last relationship. As I saw it sinking, and I don't even know. Because this is crazy, because I will say that I'm a very strong, assertive woman, but I think there is something wild that happens to two people when they get into a relationship that can completely strip you of the things that you held as such a high standard for yourself. Because I saw that happen to myself in my past relationship. I started to compromise in so many different ways that were not me, like stuff that I wasn't okay with. I was like, yeah, sure, that's totally fine. And then I'd be like, wow, that wasn't okay. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 2 weeks after breaking up with him, so of course I'm gonna say he's a really good guy right now. I think that's normally how that works.
Is that how? I'm always baffled by that. Like, it's like, yeah, we just yelled at each other for 3 days straight. He's a good guy though.
We never really yelled at each other.
Yeah.
He'd have moments, but we didn't get like into screaming matches. It was
That's
more
probably good though. Like
Yeah.
that's more of like
it was just
a
a
maturity
super
kind of
big
thing.
frustration that we would have for each other. I think it had to do with compromise and you start compromising certain values that you have to make things flow. And I think the reason I did it was because, you know, he had a daughter, has a daughter. And so, and he has a job that's really demanding. So I think I was always just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, you want to pull back and not really be that extra stress on that person. But I think by doing that, I ended up becoming the stress on that person. But I think the thing that made me laugh was when you said, I'll just text you and see how your day is going.
Yeah.
It was one of the things that for some reason I feel like I should notice as a red flag whenever I'm dating anybody in the future, because I've looked back at my past relationships and I think they've mainly done it maybe like once a month or like something like that. And I mean, I will give credit as my past relationship, it was more of like when we get home, I'll ask him how his day was and then I'll be like, how was your day? And I'm like, oh, crazy. Or I would just get to a point where I would just, you know, tell him my day.
Yeah.
And I mean, to his point, I brought it up one time and I was like, you know, you don't really ask me how my day is. And he's like, because I know you're going to tell me. And yes, because again, I'm very assertive and aggressive as a human being, but also just kind of, there's like a strange part of you that just wants to hear it.
I don't think it's even necessarily hearing the phrase. It's the concept of the person, because until they say it, there's other assumptions that you can make, i.e. that you just don't care.
Right.
But when the reality in his head is that he just assumes that
he's just waiting for it to happen.
Right. But I think that the trick there is not so much like the words, it's more so of like you have to show that you give a shit about the other person enough to be curious about that. You don't necessarily, like, it's weird, I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase that, but it's like,
it's a difficult one to phrase.
the words are not the important part. The knowledge that my significant other wants to know about my life, that part matters.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then it's assumed that you don't.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
I probably didn't do that. But
no, that's how it was, and like it's difficult for me to find fault within him because I know that he is a good human and that we just didn't work out like that. But whoever is listening, just ask your significant other how their day is. And you can literally ask them every single fucking day. That's why you say, how was your day? Yeah. It's like a day. So just do it. Just, guy, girl, I don't know. I don't know. It's not very exciting, but...
Yeah, passerby.
Sorry, yeah. I also like...
Yeah,
I don't know why that was my immediate response. Like, human, listen to the room. Hello. Like, it turned into like Igor... Which I used to do as a kid. I used to like Igor around the house, like where he would drag his foot and be like, "Hello, father, would you like some chores done?" He's like, "Layah, please get out of the way. I'm watching TV." Before TiVo.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, right here in front of the screen, Layah,
please
move. I can't, master, master. And he's like, "Will you? I don't know what's wrong with you." Yeah. I don't know how you became what you are, but you have to leave.
You have to leave right now.
That's my dad. That's how. So this is how I came into the world. Was Igor basically, and headstands in front of the TV.
Oh God!
Also, he hated that. It was great, so I kept doing it. Maybe I'm just a mean person, but I
think you just like getting a rise out of people. That's always the best. So
I don't think anyone in my whole life has ever said that to me. And it actually been something that resonated with me so like I want to say sharply, but that's not like that just hit me so sharply. But it did. Like I guess I do in some. I guess I want to do something out of the norm to see how somebody will react.
Yeah. Because
I think it's fun.
I think, man.
I would never want to make somebody super angry, but.
Yeah.
It's fun to do something that's uncomfortable for other people.
Seeing people out of their comfort zones is valuable. It's super valuable.
I'll sit on the floor at airports.
How Okay.
People lose their mind.
Like in the middle of the floor?
And no, like when you're waiting for a terminal, if there's a whole bunch of seats open, just sit on the floor.
To be honest with you, that's pretty common.
Really, when there's seats open?
Yeah. So like when I used to do. I'm literally doing it this weekend. I used to do it a lot more often than this. I used to shoot video and like do live shows and whatnot, and work in production. I flew like every weekend. Every weekend I was in an airport.
I'm so motion sick. That's like killing me to think of.
It was actually a lot of fun. Like I got to go to so many different places.
Oh, I love the destinations with
good.
the flying.
Flying is just like a Dragon Ball Z reference, a hyperbolic time chamber for me. I just pass out. Like I literally go to sleep.
I wish.
It's like I get on the plane. Tomorrow I have a alarm set for 6:21 because that is the moment where I can check into my flight, and I will be livid if I don't get a window seat because then I can't go to sleep. Yeah, like. All right, well, we can't be friends. I'm sorry. Like
you sit in the window seat behind me.
Perfect. There it is. You figured it out.
And then my hair will be like that, so you know that I'm there.
The worst person.
Don't you love that? I don't do that.
God,
because I think that's
damn it. I've had that. I've had.
There's kids on every flight.
Kids,
by the way.
I give a little bit more pass to kids. Who I don't give a pass to are the parents of said kids. So like, I expect a kid to do something like socially wrong because they're a kid,
right?
Like they're not even.
Yeah, I would never blame them for
like,
that.
It's more so the parents that just sit there and allow that to happen and don't explain hey, don't do that. Like, here's why. Like,
or God forbid, you're the one that lets the kid know that that's not something.
Oh fuck, man! Like,
are you talking to my kid?
Did you just talk to my? I'm like, yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, like obviously you're not doing that.
Is this not something that you're aware of? He's kicking my seat. You're sitting next to him. I feel it.
Yeah. I've got that.
Correct it.
I've had the foot. I don't know if you've ever had that, where you're on a plane, you're sitting in your seat, having a good time, watching a movie maybe. Actually, I was watching a movie. I was watching Black Panther, and I noticed to my left a foot appeared.
I have never seen. There's a fucking foot.
I was just like, I paused the movie, turned around and looked at the person like, hey, can you move your foot? I was just like, but in my head I was like, you goddamn animal. Like
there can't, like the fact that you have to ask somebody to move their foot from your seat is quite baffling.
I don't know. But that being said, I love traveling and flying and whatnot. I hate that I said that. I am gonna you don't have you looked at online dating at all? Like
I did online dating like I don't know 2-3 years ago for maybe a month, and it was really just like a gag basically because I can't. I'm an in-person person.
Right.
Like I can see a picture of you. You can text me and that, but your physiological, which I believe is the right word for that, and your chemical makeup are the things that are your pheromones.
Right.
And so if I meet you and you look gorgeous in this picture, and I meet you and they're like, sour, and I'm not feeling it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But the reason I brought that up was I wish I had half a penny for every time someone has in their profile. I love traveling. I love.
Oh, you see the pictures of their back with all the tropical landscape.
Like, I hate you. You hate you.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't come up with a better fucking vibe. It's just the worst.
Last week, I went to Maui for my dad's retirement party because he's very wealthy.
Like, awesome.
And he took me there. I love it. I did that once for 10 years.
God damn it. This bring like flashbacks of profiles that I've just like fucking.
I can't do the online.
It's rough.
dating.
I don't know if I'm like sold off on it yet, but like mostly because I don't have a lot of time. So
it's time consuming too.
It is, but I also don't. I'm very much like a homebody. Like I don't like to go to parties and to bars and stuff like that. I do it because I force myself to. Like there's a Christmas thing.
It's so hard to like.
I fucking hate it.
So what I think is quite funny too is because if you look back on it and people are like, yeah, you just used to meet people at places. Yeah, well, I think we also used to settle a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And now we're in this really weird situation where we don't have roles anymore.
Yeah.
So in the I'll just go back to the 50s because it's like the most recent, I think, time of like grasping. Dad went to work, mom stayed home. There was this role when you were looking to date somebody or looking to get married. You were like, are you a provider? Can you take care of my kids? There was a very small checklist. Most of those things did not require an emotional involvement. They didn't require any kind of, I want you to make me laugh. I want to have this kind of connection with you. It was like, oh, you make a substantial amount?
Yeah, nice.
You're not going to beat me all the time? That sounds nice. Let's get married. So when people say that and they're like, oh, it's so easy, you're back at you because you settled.
Yeah.
So now we have requirements where we're like, you got to make me laugh.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to be emotionally available sometimes if I'm going to need you or something like that. So I think that's why dating is so much harder. And I don't think that technology makes it easier because people like me still have to have a physical connection with that person.
But the question becomes, for an introverted person, how else do you, like, because
it's so
because how do you? And I'm saying that from a very introverted person. Like I'm learning now that I have to, like, this is the reason I'm going to this Christmas thing, is I have to force myself to do those things. I can't not. Like it's the online dating is not a substitute for that, because it's part of the realization of that came to me when I stopped doing my old job as often as I used to. I used to do it.
Also meeting people when you're going out and doing that.
I'm not. That was the thing.
Really?
That was the thing that really it clicked recently, where it was like I would go. I knew the people that were in the office, but even them, I didn't hang out with them. I would go to once a year, company party.
Company party at the end of the year.
But I didn't talk to them much. And I come in, kill it at work. Because
it's your job.
Because it's me. Because I'm good at my shit.
Yeah.
But I became the assistant video department director.
Oh, nice.
Pretty quickly. And I would talk to the videographers. I would coordinate them. But when I was out at an event, you're up on a podium and
you're doing a job,
shooting video for 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
You don't talk to anyone. You are in your own little bubble for a long period of time, and then when you're on the plane, you're also not talking. When I'm in the office, I'm not talking.
You also can't flirt with people on a plane.
No, that's
please don't
the worst.
Do it.
They're trapped there. They can't leave.
Please don't do it. Oh, it just reminds me. I think I was coming back from Pennsylvania. Yeah, I went to go see my friend Renee. I know she doesn't mind her name being on here.
Cool.
Watch her send me a message like, "You bitch."
What the fuck?
No, I love her. She's the most amazing person I've ever met. She helped me through this breakup too, which that's awesome. Whatever. But I was coming back. She's great. She's so smart too. She's getting her PhD.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But I don't know what that was. I'm so sorry.
I was just like, all right, a little aggressive, but
yeah. Listen, first of all, no, sorry. I used to clap when I was younger to people. Yeah, I was a clapper.
Oh, no.
My ex-boyfriend actually, he did help me get rid of that because I remember one day I was clapping at him, and I did it without. Honestly, I wasn't really putting the two together that it was hyper aggressive.
Yeah, but
it's like. I was like, I can't even believe. And he was like, stop clapping.
It's please, you must stop.
His face was like, don't ever clap at me again.
Yeah.
That's not why are you clapping at me? And I was like,
oh.
I don't know, just clap sometimes. But he did help me get rid of that. But I was coming back. And I sat down, and I get motion sickness really bad, so I always throw up after I get off of a plane, and I'm the person you look over and they're like, no, can't do it. And this guy, he just sits down next to me. I'm in a window seat, and he's like, yeah, you flying? And I was like,
dude,
not the plane, hopefully.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, cool. What did you come here for? And I was like, my business. He's like, oh, you own your business? I was like, my personal business. Yeah. He's like, well, you own your own personal business? I came here to see a friend I do not want to talk to you. I literally told him. I was literally like, I do not want to talk to you. And he was like, wow, okay, just trying to talk to you. I was like, but I don't want to speak to you.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I'm like, that's another moment where it's like a hoity-toity, like, because I don't want to speak to you because you're weird, sir.
Let me.
Who talks to somebody on a plane?
I think you're right. I agree because when I'm on a plane, I don't want to have small talk. I'm upset that someone is sitting next to me.
Yeah, honestly. I want the whole fucking plane. Honestly,
I had that one time. It was the best.
That sounds great.
Oh my god! I literally leaned over and just passed it. But it's not even devil's advocate. Just in your tonal exchange there and how you were
aggressive mine got.
Well,
to.
it wasn't even aggressive. It's just more so of like when you said that I don't want to talk to you. The emphasis was on you, not on the fact I don't want to talk to anyone. Like it wasn't.
But I will say, especially not that guy.
That's fair. Like he sounds like the least delightful person in the world. But like it just from a guy's perspective, it's like it seems personal. Like it's like, well, shit. What did I do to?
I can tell you a lot of things that you did.
Yeah. Like,
but I can imagine that.
Yeah. But I'm not saying that. Like, no, smile and wave, ladies. Like, don't. Yeah. Like,
oh, I have a thought on that too, which is quite crazy. Like from a psychological, social standpoint, is if you notice it, women are more likely to like smile and say hi to you, or be like, "Good morning," or "Bye, guys," than men are. And I feel like, I don't know if that's just a social inbreeding that we've done, just like how women are. We're talk and we're like that, or if it's just because of the way that men see things as socially, as like, I only say good morning to you if I have a question for you because this is business. Good morning. Did you get the stats reports? Things.
My parents, great people, really, really good people. But they never, big butt coming. They never. Emotion was not something that was. I've never had a conversation with my dad about emotion. Or my mom, I think. No, that's not true. I did. I did speak to her at some point. Is that you?
Are we dying?
I don't know whose that is. I hate you so much. You're the worst. That's my brother, by the way.
Yeah.
So everybody know that. I'm not, even though I'm cutting this part out, but it's okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
But that was.
Are you okay?
Were you even in? Okay.
Yeah, so he's his normal. Okay.
He's
okay. Good.
But that's something that is so foreign to me, I guess. Well, it was. I think I'm learning that now, and it's both refreshing and also like it gives you a perspective on life of like, it makes you not care about what other people think, because it's like, well, how am I supposed to know how they're going to react to my emotions or how I am feeling?
You haven't had enough practice with it either.
Yeah.
And honestly, everybody's so vastly different, because some people can just be mean about it too. And I think, like you said, you did have maybe you had a conversation with your mom emotionally, but being a boy growing up with your mom, it's a different dynamic to be like, I'm having emotional discussion with my mom. You want to be able to know that it's okay because it's your mom, and you're like, yeah, that's my mom. She's just gonna be.
I'm also a lot closer with her than I am with my dad. So
I find that, and I think that this really comes back to the masculine feminine thing, is that I think the reason that a lot of girls are daddy's girls and a lot of boys are, mama's boys, is because I'm very feminine, so I crave that masculinity. So I go to my dad to be like, balance me out.
Yeah, yeah.
I need to know what this is. And I think boys go to their mom because they're like, I feel, and I know that I feel, but like, how do I feel? How is this okay? How is this acceptable? So I know my mom's going to understand, and I know she can help guide me in that way. And I think we just do that naturally.
I don't think anything is wrong with that either. I think that's fine. I almost want to say, if it works, don't fuck with it.
Yeah.
But also, there are things that I've noticed as a common trait with a lot of guys that like that were lacking from their dad or like their father, and I don't want to contribute it all to just like emotional shit because I don't think it's that. I think it's more so of just like there's a for me there's a camaraderie that I have now with my friends, and I'm closer to my friends than I am with my cousins. I like that's just kind of how my life is shaped out, where I didn't really make an effort to be really close with my extended family.
Same.
It's not a good reason. It's really bad. I think I actually talked about this in the last episode, where it's just like my entire family except for myself and one of my mother's sisters. Everyone else lives in the West Indies. So there's St. Thomas, St. Martin, like St. Croix. My parents moved back to St. Croix. But they're all from there. And even my brother was born in St. Thomas. I was the only one that was born in Sumter, South Carolina. God, I both hate that place and love it at the same time. But
I love how you have to say it with a twang too. You couldn't
Sumter,
just
South Carolina.
South Carolina. It's gotta have it.
It's gotta have it. But I don't know. I never connected with them, so I just kind of wrote them off. It's just like, whatever. You guys don't understand me. I don't understand you. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I regret that, because I think it's made me realize now that friendships are a little bit more important than I initially credited them for, because we didn't move around a lot, but I've had friendships severed by things that were out of my control so often throughout my childhood that there was a point where I was just like, fuck people, and I want nothing to do with them. But now I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, you probably should invest like in
you have to invest in your friends.
And being with and around people, because back when I was talking about earlier where I was shooting video every week, and then I'd literally be flying out on Friday or Thursday, be back home on Monday, be in the office on Wednesday, and then sometimes Thursday, and then fly out that night. Just
you don't realize how isolated.
Yeah, you don't. And
it just becomes a habit.
Part of the reason I started working at the place where we both work is, and I did that for a holiday. For a little bit, I worked there part time, only during the off season.
Yeah, I noticed that you were there, and then you were like,
I leave and I
come
were back,
and I was like, well, where's he gone? What's he doing?
Yeah,
that's nice.
So I would leave and I'd come back, but it reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, this is how you interact with people.
Oh yeah,
this
you
is
forget
like,
to
and it's like, oh, okay, this is it. And then in that last year, I didn't come back. There was a year where I just focused on doing that job, and I took some time off. And even in that time off, I was just streaming, like making videos and stuff like that. And that is extremely isolating. And I was like, but I love doing this. How do I do both? And
you bring a person with you.
This is it. You figured it out. Now you know why this exists.
Grab her and you're coming on the show. Last week was a hobo, but you're going to do great. And I was like, whatever. It's a Wednesday night. I'll figure something out.
I feel like I'm bouncing between like very heavy stuff.
I love it, but I totally get what you're doing. But going back to the dad thing, I was close with my dad. I was closer with my dad than I was with my mom, and it's strange because the funniest thing is looking back. My past two big relationships both had strained relationships with their fathers. And because I've had 3 major relationships with men, and in the first one he was super close with his dad, and he actually was probably one of the most emotionally available and communicative partners that I did have, even though he was an alcoholic and is now he's actually now deceased from it, so not the best, and I hung in there a lot longer than I should have, for sure. But I don't want to say that I contribute those aspects because it's only 2 people, but I don't want to say that I contribute that to them having issues with their dad. But I mean, in one of them, the dad passed away when he was like 5, and so he didn't have a dad, in his life, so that's not really his fault.
Yeah.
And then, in the other past one, his dad just gave up. His dad was just like, yeah, I guess I'll let your mom raise you.
I was like, cool.
That's
why we're together.
That form of abandonment has got to be
wild, man.
Absolutely insane, because I don't think I can even wrap my head around what that must feel like. I mean, I had, parents that, like I said, they're not the same people, but they, it was not a pleasant experience. But I couldn't imagine how that would feel to just have them not be there, have one of them just be like, I'm bouncing.
Yeah, just like, I'm
bye. Out. For any reason. And his dad's reason was money, and I'm like, I just don't feel like that's fair.
No, that's not.
I don't ever feel like money is a fair reason, so I can't imagine what that does. But in those two instances, they were people who were, and I wonder if that just is that balance that's there. Maybe it's that form of abandonment. Like, if I give you some of my emotional, if I let you see in here and I'm vulnerable with you, you could do the same thing.
Yeah.
And you could just be my dad, and you could just take that I gave you and just leave. And I wonder if that's something that super ingrains there forever.
I don't contribute that to, in my case, which I don't think I'm.
Yeah, I don't know what your situation was. I just know that with them,
right.
there was an absent father figure in their life.
Because I don't attribute most of my emotional development to my dad. I contribute a lot of that to. It sounds really bad. I feel like this is probably what I've never been to therapy before. I should probably.
I've been so many times,
but I don't know. I looked into it.
It helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Go to cognitive therapy. Cognitive therapy is, so we do things that sometimes we aren't even aware of. We do them cognitively, and they're just ingrained from the time that we're a kid. We just pick them up, and they help retrain your brain to stop doing it that way. And that's why I like cognitive therapy. So yeah, but go on. I just thought that
no, you're good. I just, as I grew up, and even as a kid, I remember thinking this, because I was always a very self-analyzing person. I remember being in high school, and I would realize that, I don't spend outside, like, I don't spend any time doing certain things or things that I enjoy doing with my dad. I do, however, spend that time doing things with, like, a cool teacher, or when I was in ROTC for 5 years. I do stuff. I played golf. I was captain for 1 year in golf. But I would do those things with other older men, and it clicked to me at a young age. I was like, oh, okay, I see why I'm doing that. And then I was just like, whatever. It's like it never once in my head clicked as a negative thing. It was just more so of like, oh, okay, this is probably like why I enjoy this so much. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't know. It's never been a thing that I've been like, I hate my dad because blah blah blah. It's just more so of like, oh, okay. Like,
it also
that's just how
doesn't
I was
help.
growing
It
up.
really doesn't help to hate, like, to just be like, oh, I hate this person and what they did, and I don't know, what is that going to do? It just really doesn't do anything for anybody, because it is
if
the
anything,
way that it is.
I have.
Which I hate that saying. I'm so sorry.
What?
It is the way that it is. I hate it. I don't know why it bothers me. Like, you can see me like cringe. I'm like, I can't believe I just said. I say so many things I can't believe I just said.
I think that's a good thing, though, because it's good that, like, because I think I said something similar to that earlier. Like, you catch yourself saying stuff like that, because it's like it reminds you, like, oh, okay, that's probably why that person said it.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
It's just so, like, ingrained in, like, your vocabulary.
It is.
But
It's a societal imprint on our mind.
it's like I like to travel thing. Like,
oh my god.
like, fuck.
Even you just saying that right
It's
now,
the
I'm like,
worst.
get out.
It's
Just
the worst.
cut it.
Who doesn't like?
Who doesn't want
Who
to
doesn't
go?
like going to new places? Like
Who
that's such
doesn't-
a dumb thing.
Who doesn't want to be like, I just don't want to.
From I guess if any.
You never want to try a cheeseburger from like a different cheeseburger place?
No, I'm not into travel.
Yeah.
No, I don't like.
I don't want to
I
travel.
don't like trying new things.
If
like,
if you break it down though, how do you get to work?
Yeah. I think there's actually a comedian that had a whole like bit
Really?
on that
Oh,
about
that's
like
great.
it's like yeah, I like to travel too. I walk to the Starbucks. Like it's
Yeah.
like something along those
No,
lines.
yeah, but it's like traveling is
Is
such a
fucking stupid word for that. I get the thing is I understand what they're
ambiguous
trying
word
to
use.
say.
Yeah.
It's
Say that.
yeah, but also like don't say that because that's such a stupid. This is just me ripping into like all these fucking shitty dating profiles I've seen over the past like couple things. But I digress.
I love dating profiles.
I'm
I still don't know whatever mine would have been. I don't even remember what mine was. I think mine was something that was literally like, very honest, and I even said something like, not assertive or aggressive, but like, so that people knew that I was like annoying. I guess.
I love how both like confident and secure you are with yourself,
Yeah.
but also extremely self-deprecating.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I mean, that
it's-
comes hand in hand, absolutely. I think, thank God I'm not a narcissist, because those are the most self-hating people on the planet. You have to literally hate yourself to be a narcissist. But I don't even remember what mine was. But I just know that there was barely anything there, and I had like 3 pictures up, and I got floods of messages, and I was like, you don't even know me. Like, did you even read it? I feel like I could put like, I only want you if you're into like weird butt stuff and you want me to poop on your chest, and I would get the same
They'd be like,
amount of
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that. Just like
just looking back and forth with the pictures. I could do it.
yeah.
I could dump on my chest. I could do it. I could do it. I could do it. I could do it. All right.
It's like, can I wear?
Hello there, beautiful.
I just, man, I feel like that is a very weird space for like.
The pooping.
Yeah. That's definitely
Just-
weird.
I can't do the pooping.
think we're done now because no, but it's like how. I wonder if that changes the way people think, because you're talking about how you posted some wild shit on your profile and you just had a flood of people, whereas
It was,
that
like,
is the exact
ridiculous.
opposite experience for every dude.
For every guy, every guy has to literally have a resume and a cover letter.
hate it.
Like you have to literally sit there for 2 days and put your shit together. You have to be like, all right, okay, I'm funny. How do I put I'm funny? And as a girl, you're like, I'm funny. I'm
That'll work.
smart.
That's it. Yeah, cool.
I like to travel. And then, and as a guy, you're like,
Yeah. Oh man, it's
I can't just say I'm funny. I've got,
Yeah.
maybe I should put a joke in there.
Yeah.
Maybe if I start off with a line, okay, but now I have to find the perfect line, because then I got to draw her in. But what if she doesn't get it? You know what? If she doesn't get it, she's not a nerd. So then I don't want her at all. But what if she knows that I'm a nerd based off that line and she doesn't like me? Fuck. And like a girl could put some nerdy shit and not have to worry about being like, he won't like me if I'm a nerd.
because
Isn't that sad though too, to think about it? The flip flop of that. Guys are totally into girls that are nerdy, and for the most part, what I've seen, because I love nerdy guys, I like smart intellectuals, and just people who play Magic or board games. But the flip is a lot of women are like, he's kind of like a nerd. Okay, for what kind of nerd? What do you mean what kind of nerd? Like,
are we talking?
what
like,
do you mean? Like, well. Is he playing like card games, or is like reading comic books, or playing board games, or like video games, or like is he geeky and likes computers? Which send me his link.
Yeah.
Send me his link.
let me see.
You're being ridiculous. Just let me see.
It's interesting because like now I don't really think about the thing I've noticed though on like online is anime. That's the thing.
Anime is becoming a common ground.
There's like girls who will put that as their top thing, and there's other girls who will put that as their top thing. It's like, I don't like anime, and then like go on and do like the rest of it. It's so funny to me. I was like, holy shit.
I don't know much about anime because I don't really watch much of it. So it's never been like the thing that I've set time aside for.
Yeah.
And I've just recently started getting into it.
I was going to say you don't necessarily need to, but
no, but
like,
you don't need to. Dumbass. Oh, you are? Great.
No.
I'm kidding.
No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was more so of like, there are better things to do with your time.
No, yeah. I feel like, I missed that. I feel like I watched it when I was younger, when Cartoon Network did.
Yeah, everybody watched
like
Dragon Ball and shit
and I did that too, but I feel like I missed that time where it was enjoyable for me to watch it.
Yes.
And now I just, I'm just into different stuff. But I think the thing that I find funny is even though I know enough about it, I'll never make it my avatar or anything.
Dude,
but I'll see girls that do it, and then it's from one show, and they've only seen the one episode, and they'll tell you, and they'll just be you'll mention like another anime to them, and they'll be like, "What's that?"
Well,
but you'll be like, "So in DBZ, huh?"
So like, I don't mind that. Like, and this I watch anime, but it's also very sporadically. I'll grind.
It's also
like,
fast. You're right.
Yeah, I'll grind through like a series and be like, that was cool, and then like go on a spree of watching like Lucifer and like The Mentalist.
I like that show though. I like shows that are like easy to watch, but they're kind of like, I don't know, like, when Stewie and Family Guy was watching the show with the singing girl, and he was like, "Oh, this is happy and I like it," and that's kind of how I feel about some shows where I'm like, "Oh, this tickles me," and I'll just watch it.
I shouldn't like it, and I feel like every time I bring it up with people,
that's why it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I'm just like,
you shouldn't be watching
my apparently my tastes are the same as like a 40-year-old housewife. That's fine.
So Desperate Housewives was your fucking jam.
I hate that show.
I really don't like that show. I'm trying to think of like a guilty pleasure show of mine, but I can't even. I don't know. I'm sure I have one. Maybe Scrubs. I really like Scrubs, but I feel like everyone should like Scrubs.
Classic.
I did watch 90 Day Fiancé.
Oh God! I keep seeing so many clips of it on YouTube.
So the reason I watched it was because it was great to sit. Wow, this sounds incredibly mean now. Like, no, I'm thinking about it in my head, and then I realized that these are human beings on television, and I'm like, no, my favorite thing to do is get around with all my girlfriends and just make fun of them and be like, he doesn't love you, and he wants your green card. And then I just realized how horrible that is, because I would say some really horrible stuff, and...
I mean...
And I don't even feel like I can okay it by being like, they signed off on it to be on TV. They did it because they thought people were gonna like see their love.
Some of them, I think the first one I saw was okay.
There are a few on there that I believe are 100% yes. Like, those are two people who fell in love and now they are a couple, and I believe that that's a thing and they should be able to have that. But there's some people on there.
You know the dude that sold weed and like got the girl that came over, and then like she tried to buy like all this expensive shit, and he's like, I can't afford that shit. And then
I feel like that's almost everyone on 90 Day Fiancé. I'm so sorry.
They're just all drunk. But no, like they're just
all like, if they're the girl, if they're not in it for love, they're definitely in it for money, and you can see it on there. Funny. It's so.
But every like reaction thing I've seen on YouTube is the same, where it's like, I'm not faulting the girl at all in this situation. She was very upfront about it. She's like, yeah, I came here because you said you were rich. And it's just like...
wait, is she the one with like the big boobs?
Hell, yeah, you know exactly
what I'm talking about. And she looks cute. She's like young.
I don't know. She has like the look of like, I have way too much plastic surgery.
Russia?
Yes. Yeah.
I know exactly. And she's with that guy who's, a little bit not... She's like physically a 9...
Yeah, and he's not. No, that's fine. No,
he's
like,
not.
Yeah,
she was. I remember.
She was.
She literally said to his face, "She's like, you told me you had money. You don't have money." Yeah. And he's like, "No, I'll get money." And I'm like,
I love that so much, because like it's one of those rare situations where it's just like, you weren't being deceived, man. Like, you know what you're signing up for.
I really sided with her a lot of times.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
I was like, sir. Where is your money?
Yeah.
she can't get her lips done anymore, and they're going to start to look weird because there's all that extra skin in there now.
That's so fucking weird, man. I'm people do whatever you want to do. If you feel like you want to do a whole bunch of like,
I can't get
body, yeah, I just it's not.
I contemplated it for some time, and I feel like one of the big reasons I contemplated it was because I was feeling at a place in my life where I didn't feel like I was physically beautiful. And I was with somebody, and they were like very gung-ho about it. And so I felt more
about the plastic surgery or gung-ho?
Yeah, about getting boobs done.
Yikes, man.
And
it's fucking weird.
And I mean, it would always be like, either way that you want to do it, I still love you and everything's okay. But when I told him, no, I really don't think I want to, it was, you could tell there was like an exacerbation, and he was upset, and you knew that that's the thing he wanted. And so that was very much a struggle for me.
That's fucking, so the weird thing about that is when you, like, I know we were talking about like how people were flipping through fucking online profiles and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you were saying at the very beginning, one of the first things that usually attracts you to a person is their looks, right?
Yeah, aesthetics for sure.
Right. So like, if you got into the relationship with a person, especially if you've been there for years,
you see what these are.
yeah, like you know what you're getting.
They're not.
Like,
Yeah.
So
They're not,
what?
I think it was more of a possibly in his own way wanting to save the relationship in some way that he possibly thought that it was.
Some weird.
It was something
gymnastics.
that I had said. I was like, oh, I would get my boobs done if I could. Maybe, I don't know. And it was like, I'll pay for them. And and I was like really excited by that. And then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, this isn't something I want to do. And I think he got his hopes up about it. And then it was ripped away kind of thing. But knowing me and who I am and how much, like, I have my ears pierced and my nose pierced because I don't want to get any other part of my body pierced because I like to be active and I don't want to wait on it to fucking heal. And I don't want to have foreign shit in me that I can't go sprinting with because they get in my way, or do yoga with or something. And
I don't know if that's one tattoo, two tattoos. It's on both of my shoulder blades, and those were my first tattoos I ever got, and I was like, oh, this will be cool. And then I immediately realized all the shit that I couldn't do while they were healing, and I was just
really
like,
sucks.
This is the worst. Like, this is the actual worst. Like,
I don't like being physically bound in a way that I can't do things. And I understand why people would want to get plastic surgery, but I mean, because I wear makeup and I try to wear clothes that I enjoy, but for me, it's an always. I can take my makeup off.
Yeah.
I can't really like pop my boobs off at night. Just feel like, good job, see you later.
Something that reminded me is I think women have a misconception that guys don't do that too. Not in the same realm of like makeup, obviously, but I think grooming. Yeah, there's grooming. I also think it's like clothing choice,
absolutely,
things of that nature. It's not always like, oh, I'm gonna wear this like nice like button up and
I'm gonna wear a suit all the time.
No, like that makes you look weird. But like,
where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
Where are you going?
You're outside of my house and you're like, excuse me, sir, would you like to be on a podcast? No.
No, but like I've that's something I've become a lot more comfortable with. My clothing choice is very connected with like I want to look appealing, like almost in the same way as I think some girls do when it comes to like, I don't know, like shit like fucking extremely tight leggings or like super short shorts or fucking.
I'm just always wearing super tight leggings.
That's fair. But like it's just like I don't know. Like
no, but they're comfortable. So
yeah, every time someone tells me that, I'm like, that doesn't look comfortable, but I'll take your word for it.
You also have, I think, as a man, just having that junk there. I don't know if you
true.
know what it's like to just, it's not there.
It's not there,
and it's a freeing thing unless you're not wearing underwear and it gets under that lip.
And then now you have this guy hanging out.
Yeah, then you're like,
can you not?
You know, and you're just like, get out, just see you later or something like that. I have definitely worn leggings where it look like I was trying to blow a kiss at you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
just floating there on the side. And I'm like, you know what? These things are comfortable. I'm gonna leave it.
I don't like the thing is when I was younger I'd be like, oh my god, like why would you wear something so revealing? I can't believe that, like, ma'am, please cover yourself. I don't want to see that. Like, no one wants to. Like, no. Like, now I'm more on the lines of like, I get it. Like,
yeah.
If that's a tacked on added bonus, I get it. But also, if that is the case, you can be upset if people are like obviously physically harassing you. You cannot be upset if people are gonna look. I'm sorry.
That is such a good no.
Like, you don't get to be upset.
You don't.
I'm sorry.
It's not. You know, this is such a straight. Oh, hang in here with me because it sounds so many things that I hate saying about myself. I've been an attractive woman. I like how I say I've been, like, in the past. We're talking about it. No. So I've seen those spectrums, and it's like I used to get upset when I was younger because I don't think I really understood it. But it doesn't matter. I realize it doesn't really matter what I wear or what I do. I'm a beautiful woman, and when I walk around, people are going to look at me. I don't think it's not even necessarily that, but it's that I try to carry myself in a certain way. So I do have a presence when I walk into a room. But I've learned to absolutely love that because I feel like it's powerful. So when there are women that get upset for somebody looking at them, it irks me a little because I don't really think it matters, but they don't give a shit if it's an attractive man.
Oh, of course not.
They don't give a fuck if it's an attractive man that's looking at the, if it's some guy. This is a real thing that happened to me, and this goes to show you that I roll with it because it's what it is. I walked into a 7-Eleven downtown Orlando at 3 a.m. outside of downtown Orlando, and someone called me a snow bunny, and they said it's a real life snow bunny, and I was like, thank you, sir. I don't know what that means. But I was like, I think that means I look good. Yeah. So thank you. And so I've learned to, like, it's a tricky road though, because as soon as you say thank you, they're like, well, this isn't good for business.
Yes.
And so I try to be like, thank you, but like, no, but that's the compliment it ends there. So I think just revel in it. Just be, I don't want to say be happy to get a compliment, but compliments are nice. But if a guy, and it's happened, I've been at clubs and they grab your ass or they try to like touch you and stuff, and you're just, that's when I also get like, I will like grab your wrist and bend it back and you've grabbed my ass, and I have done that before. Yeah. Like, it's there long enough for me to do that. That's there too long. Yeah. So, but it's going to happen. People are going to say things. I think it's just the nature of it, and I hate to say that too, but unless somebody's touching you, you have to realize that if you're a beautiful woman, that's how it's going to be. You should probably be a little bit scared if nobody's hollering at you. It's probably
no. I know some people that will probably take that like in the worst possible way.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like the worst thing to say, okay. But I don't know them, so I don't care what their thoughts are. No, I'm saying.
It's fair. But
I don't know. I just feel that way. I just feel like that's happened constantly for me, especially recently that, I've started taking care of myself, and this past like year or two, the people do that. And I'm just like, I don't know what a snow bunny is. I found out what it was.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, yeah. Maybe.
And I was like,
all right.
They're wealthy enough.
Yeah. We were just talking about that.
You marry for money now, right?
This is great.
All right, that's going to be the end of part 1. Part 2, like I said, will be out very soon, probably next week. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Take care.